One of the largest restaurant industry POS providers out there has been hit with ransomware. What's up, everyone? I'm Brian with Exact Cybersecurity and IT, and we're going to talk about today the ransomware attack on Aloha POS, or the parent company you may have heard of, NCR. We're going to get into it in this video. Aloha POS, NCR, has been reportedly taken down with a ransomware attack by Black Cat. If you don't know Aloha POS or their parent company, NCR, they are a big player in the technology arena. A lot of your popular favorite restaurants, if you look at the screen or the register that's in front of you when you're paying, a lot of times that's an NCR machine, and Aloha is software that runs on these machines. And I think there's well over 100,000 restaurants, independent and chains, that use this software. So it's a pretty big deal as to what's going on here. And according to a number of reports, the company was down early last week. It's now Monday, April 17, 2023, and they're still working through this situation. So NCR is conducting its concurrent efforts to establish alternative functionality for customers, fully restore impacted data and application, and to enhance its cybersecurity protections, the company said in a press release on Monday, saying the hack is not interfering with in-restaurant purchases or transactions, nor does it extend to NCR's ATM, digital banking, and payments business. On social media, restaurants said they have been unable to access back office tools, accept gift cards, or use NCR's data dashboard named Pulse. One of the customers in the article here posted on restaurantbusinessonline.com, where there'll be a link in the description. They said over at Copper Door Restaurant in Bedford, New Hampshire, they posted on their Facebook last Wednesday, "We apologize to our guests as our locations may not have the ability to accept gift cards or Copper Club loyalty points. This is a nationwide NCR outage that we unfortunately do not have control over. We hope to return to normal soon, and we'll post here once we are back up and running." NCR said a subset of customers are feeling the effects of the attack. As of last summer, more than 100,000 restaurant locations were using NCR. The Atlanta-based company said it determined Thursday that an outage in one of its data centers was the result of a ransomware attack, meaning hackers are holding the system hostage and demanding payment. The company then began contacting customers and working with outside experts to contain the incident and begin the recovery process. Federal law enforcement is also involved, and this is at least the second ransomware attack to affect the restaurant industry in less than a month after large food service distributor Benny Keith was disrupted for days in late March. Now, it's interesting to me because these ransomware hackers, especially in the restaurant industry, love to attack supply chain type of businesses. So food suppliers, technology providers, they're not necessarily going to attack restaurants unless you're maybe a large chain that has a lot of computers and a lot of offices, but they will attack your providers, and that's a big deal. Supply chain types of attack are big concerns for lots of companies in the world, but this should be something that the restaurant industry should be definitely taking a look at. Who in their supply chain or what in their supply chain is going to cause them to be able to not operate or do business like they normally would? These restaurants are more than likely having to do a lot of things on pen and paper. They're having to track things on pen and paper, and they're having to wait until they can enter these things into this system so they can probably do a lot of back office functions, like potentially order food, maybe potentially pay employees. There's a lot of things at the back end of this Aloha POS is not able to provide these affected customers right now, and it's a big deal. So we don't have too many details on the attack at the moment. There was a brief time where Black Cat did post this on their dark web leak site, but it has since come down, and typically that's thought to be because they are negotiating with these criminals at the time to try to get data restored or ransomware key given to them so they can do some recovery. But we don't have an exact timeline right now how they got in. We're going to find all this stuff out in the coming months when that information is maybe potentially released or not. But really, we know the major causes of these things. Usually it's because somebody is either clicking on things or going to places they shouldn't go on their computers that are connected to the corporate network, or there's an exposed password or some cyber hygiene somewhere along the way that these hackers were able to exploit and get in, maybe through a VPN or maybe through some other compromised username or password that you can get a multitude of ways. So it'll be interesting to figure out or find out what happens here in the future, what happens with the investigation, what their actual response looks like, how long they're going to be down. This is all stuff that this is early on. This is a brand new attack. It just happened last week. They're just starting to talk about it. And unfortunately for a company like this, they have to come public, unlike say an attorney's office where they might not have as many customers impacted like this, where they have to post it on social media to let people know that there's some kind of an issue. We constantly talk about, and on my podcast, I talk about, my podcast is Security Squawk. You can check it out at securitysquawk.com. On my podcast, I talk about all the time these ransomware attacks that happen and we don't hear about them for 2-3 months later. These companies like this, like Aloha and NCR, they don't have that luxury because their customers have to update their clients who are coming into the restaurants and the stores and want to buy food and want to get served, and they can't serve them as well, and they will have a reputation uphold. So the reason that they're giving is, hey, our POS system that we use is down and we're not able to serve you like we normally would. And that raises questions like, who's that POS system and what are they doing? What's going on? So they had to release this information just a week shy into their actual attack. Not all businesses have that luxury. So keep that in mind to hide this longer or keep it under wraps longer than just a week. So unfortunately, Aloha had to come out with this, and we're going to learn a lot about the response or how well prepared they are around their response by the length of time that this takes for them to get back up and running and get customers restored. My guess is that they are negotiating because it did come down off the dark website, and as they analyzed what they had for recovery options, they realized that they needed to keep the ransomware payment on the table. Let's hope they don't have to use it, or let's hope the FBI can work their magic and get the key for them without them having to pay. We will see. But just remember, ransomware attacks are preventable, folks, or at least you can minimize your risk around them so big things like this don't happen. Make sure you have things like your systems are being patched regularly. Make sure that users' passwords are being disabled and passwords are being changed regularly. Good password hygiene is what we always recommend. These are all things you need to be doing. Strong passwords. Make sure you know your backups, that they're good, and that you have solid recovery plans. These are all things that Aloha and NCR are going to experience and are going to test here in the coming days and weeks. And then they're going to learn all about network segmentation and monitoring for these things once they get back up and running. And once they, as they said in the previous article that I mentioned, as they look to improve their cybersecurity posture as a result of this attack. So love to hear from you. If you made it this far, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. If you're impacted, if you're a restaurant owner or you use NCR or Aloha and it impacted your life in some way, we'd love to hear from you. Restaurant owners, managers, employees, what are you guys doing to get through this? Drop them in the comments, and we'd love to hear from anybody impacted by the NCR Aloha POS ransomware attack by Black Cat. And guys, we'll see you in the next video. Take care.